people will be people.
People
So,
will be people.
hey Jess,
Hi, Bree.
how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It was decent weather today, so I enjoyed that.
I didn't even go outside the house today, so
Really.
yeah.
Those are good days too, though. I didn't go out the house Saturday, so.
Mm. The only way I knew the weather today was because I asked Google. But that's about it.
Mm. Well, today we are talking about forgiveness, which can
Hmm.
be a heavy topic.
Yeah, it can be a heavy topic. It can be hard to do depending on the situation. Because I feel like I myself have found it easier to forgive sometimes versus other times.
Yeah, I've learned that forgiveness for me has been a struggle because
Hmm.
I'll feel like just not acknowledging it is like I'm good, but that's not
Yeah,
forgiveness.
is what is it? It's just putting it behind me so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, literally, that's what I was doing, just putting it behind me to not think about it.
Right.
So that's definitely been something that I've like over the years struggled with. And it's crazy because you can struggle with it and not even know you struggle with it. Like you cannot even realize like you have an unforgiveness issue.
What made you, like, realize that you did? Was it something that happened and you're like, "Oh, wow, I actually haven't forgiven this person," or
I think it was just my mom telling me. I need to forgive.
Thank God
Because
for our
maybe
parents.
it's easier. Yeah, maybe it's easier for people to see
Mhm.
unforgiveness in people than it is to like recognize it about yourself.
Yeah. Do you think the people that you feel like you need to forgive or in whatever situation that was, do you find yourself, like, having to, like, avoid the person? Or is it a situation where you
Yeah.
didn't really even have to see them anyways, or were you, like, avoiding them?
I just wouldn't speak to them, wouldn't talk to them. If it was a situation where I was or had to be around them, I just don't acknowledge them. Out
Yeah.
of sight, out of mind. That's how it
Yeah.
was. But that's
Yeah.
not forgiveness, and I had to learn that. Like, true forgiveness is being able to remain the same person throughout whatever the issue is. And if you
Yeah.
have to avoid or you have to, like, calm yourself down, then yeah, you haven't
Yeah.
forgave.
That's funny that you say that because I had honestly never really thought about unforgiveness could be just avoiding the person in general, but now that I think about it, I feel as though I've had moments where I haven't forgiven someone and I just avoided them. So and so that I didn't really, like, have to communicate with them. And then I have
Mhm.
had communication with them, but I would try to make it as though it would be as least as possible. And I hadn't
Mhm.
really realized that that was me not being forgiving towards them, so wow.
Yeah. And also with forgiveness, I don't want anyone to be able to what's the word? Affect my emotions
Mhm.
or like change my mood. I guess that's what I'd say. Change my mood when I'm around them. Like I don't want people to have that much power over my emotions. And
Yeah.
so that's one way for me if I can tell like if I'm struggling with unforgiveness with someone is if my mood like they affect my mood that much.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with me when it's me, like, having to forgive someone, I think it's one, of course, like a pride thing because you feel like they did something and you don't wanna forgive them, but I think sometimes I am just, like, angry about the situation, which isn't good.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I have found myself, like, literally being angry at people,
Mm.
and and I'm just like, "Wow," like, that is me giving them power to make me feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously. And then it's like they're just living their life in bliss. Don't even know that you are feeling
No,
that way or like you haven't forgiven them.
probably don't know, probably
That's the
don't
part
even
that gets
care.
me. Yeah, don't care.
They probably really honestly, they
That's
probably really don't care because they did it, and did they apologize?
yeah. Yeah.
They probably
So
honestly
yeah, they
really
don't
don't
care.
care. And which is
Mhm.
another point because they say that forgiveness is more so for you than,
Yeah.
the actual person that you're having to forgive because, like, when you think about it, you're not forgiving someone, you kinda, like, can take that into other relationships, and it can take a toll on you, not just mentally, but, like, emotionally, and it can be a snowball effect, and you not even realize it if you are in denial, like you had said before, not even realizing that you haven't forgiven that person.
Yeah. And then I
Mhm.
think about recently, what I've had to think about is like sometimes I don't know why I thought about this, but like I may offend someone and not even realize that I offended them. And so like I can go on and live my life and then see them months later or whatever, and they're still offended by that thing.
Mhm.
And so when I think about that, it makes me think about like holding on to like the unforgiveness really does only affect you. It
Mhm.
doesn't affect the other person, because sometimes
No.
people don't even know they offended you, or if they know they offended you, they may f if they did apologize, they may feel like, "Oh, it's all good now," but you're still, like, holding on to it.
Yeah.
Why do we do that?
Because
Like
a lot of times, though, and because a lot of times sometimes I feel like like them saying, "I'm sorry" helps, but it's
mhm,
like a whole 'nother process sometimes that the actual individual has to go through to really be still free from it and forgive them. Because that
mhm,
like, the "I'm sorry" is one thing, but just because someone says "I'm sorry" to you doesn't necessarily mean that you have forgiven them,
yeah,
and that can just be the start of it. But
mhm,
to from what you did say, the whole, like, sometimes you can offend someone and then you not even really knowing or whatever. Do you think that you always have to go back and let the person know that they offended you? Or do you think that's important, or is it something where you feel like it can be handled just, like, on your own? Like, I can forgive this person without
yes.
having to tell them that they were, like, in the wrong or they offended me.
So I don't feel like you should have to tell them, but like sometimes in TV shows and movies, for whatever reason, they go back and tell them like this whole monologue of like what they did to them and stuff. And I feel like real life is not like that. Like I don't
Yeah.
have to go back and tell you like it's a me thing. So I should process
Yeah.
that. And I should figure that out. Because even if you
Yeah.
do say, "Oh, I'm sorry," is that gonna automatically like cause me to just give you forgiveness and like be able to move on with my life?
Right. What do you think is what do you think the first step in moving on after somebody's offended you? Like, what starts the process of forgiving someone without telling them and them saying sorry?
Yeah. Probably to just acknowledge it. Like, to acknowledge, like, they offended me and why. Like, why was that offensive?
Mhm.
You know? Because
Yeah.
sometimes I have to ask myself, like, why was I offended by that? Like, what about that was offensive? And then I have to put myself in their shoes. Sometimes if I put myself in
Mhm.
their shoes, it'll make me more angry because it's like, I know I'd never do that. But in some situations, if you put yourself in their shoes, then you're like, okay, I could see maybe my head was just in a million different places and I didn't think about it or whatever. So I think being
Mhm.
able to like accept, like, I'm upset about this and then trying to identify, like, why? What about that makes you so upset?
Mhm. Yeah. I heard someone say that, like, people nowadays I don't know if people weren't like this before, but they said people nowadays, so and they're like, "We've become easily offended." Like, we take offense easily from people,
Yeah.
and, like, we always, like, we're on, like, defense or on guard and always feeling like somebody is doing something to
Mhm.
us or we're not. Would you agree with that statement or not necessarily?
I agree, and I think social media has made that a big thing because when things happen, people feel the need to, like, make a video about it or, like, post about it, and I feel like that's why a lot of things have changed in the world, and you have to be
Mhm,
like, certain words you could say 20 years ago, you can't say now because people are being so easily offended by stuff, and so, yeah,
mhm.
I agree. People are
Yeah.
very easily offended, and it's kinda entitlement because it's like you just feel like people should care that much about
Yeah.
something that offends you when you could just be overreacting.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. Which is a good reason why you were like the first thing that you should well, one of the first things was that you should kinda, like, ask yourself, "Why was I offended in the first place?" Because
Mhm.
sometimes it's like, was that something that I really should have been offended
Mhm.
about? Is this something that I can kinda just sweep under the rug because it wasn't that serious? But
Yeah. I had to do that last week. I was at work and this lady came and was introducing this lady that just got hired. And so she skipped my desk, went to the next person's desk, introduced her to him, and then kind of went around the whole area and was introducing her to my coworkers. And I was kind of like, it's a lot of this at my job.
yeah.
So I was a little offended because I was just kind of like, is that the reason? Like, you just skipped
Mm,
over me? But then I thought about it and I was like, if that is the reason or whatever the reason may be, really it's a her problem because I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there
yeah,
working. So is it even
yeah,
really a reason to get offended? Like, it says more about her than me.
it does. Mm-mm. But see, that would be a I've, like, had to teach myself or train myself to let
Mhm.
stuff like that go, because I would be the
Mhm.
person that would happen, and then I would just dwell on it.
Mhm. Same.
Like, I've had to get to the point where I could even just be like, "Okay, whatever,"
Yeah.
and then not think about it the rest of the day, because I was
Same.
for sure the person that would just dwell on stuff, and it's like, "Girl, like, time goes on."
Mhm. And
And
that
that's
person
another
don't
thing
even
with
remember.
yeah, and that's another thing with forgiveness. It's like if you don't release that, you're blocking yourself from
Mhm.
whatever could be possibly coming your way because
Yeah.
you can't like choose to forgive that person and that forgiveness is really for you. It's not even for
Mhm.
them. Do
Right.
you do you find it hard to For okay, not find it hard, but do you think that, it's easier to forgive other people or easier to forgive yourself?
Ooh. I don't know. I feel like when you really think about it, it's probably a little easier to forgive other people. Because when I think about forgiving myself, I think then that makes me feel like I could have done something differently.
Mhm.
And so part of that is like regret. And so it's like, if you feel like you could have like changed, like you can't control how other people treat you or like what they do to you, but you can control what you do. So if you feel
Yeah,
like you did something to cause you to like have to forgive yourself, I feel like that makes it harder because it's like you could have prevented that.
prevented
Or you
it
feel like you could have prevented it.
or did something differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. When I was first thinking about it, I was thinking, "Oh, I feel like it'd be easier for me to forgive myself." I'm like, "I'll forgive myself in a heartbeat."
Mhm.
But now I'm thinking you saying how, "Well, maybe I coulda did something differently." When I think about it that way, then I do think that it would be easier to forgive other people than myself. How do you know when you've truly forgiven someone?
Um, that's a good question. 'Cause I don't really know. I don't know. I guess for me, just like how I treat them, or if I even
Yeah,
talk to them to be able to treat them a certain way. So yeah, like just being able to just remain like the person that I've always been when I'm around them.
yeah, I would agree, I would agree. I would also say not trying to one, avoid them anymore, or feeling like you have to act a certain way because they're around, or dwelling on what the people have done to you or what has happened. So
Mhm.
basically, like, not having to feel like you need to manipulate any situation anymore, and just being able to
Yeah.
be free around them,
Mhm.
I think. Yeah, and also, I feel like when something has happened and you think about or you think back on it or whatever, I feel like when it's really fresh, you kind of react emotionally in a way where it could, like, maybe take a toll or something on you, but I feel like once you've forgiven the person, you can talk about it, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
without it you're not, like, breaking down crying or
Yeah.
you're not getting, like, so angry anymore, like, you're able to, like, tell someone this or whatever has happened, and you're able to, like, move forward. I
Yeah.
think that's a good way to know if you've actually forgiven.
Yeah.
Which, actually, the other thing that we didn't talk about, which can kinda go with that, is do you think that when you forgive someone, you have to forget what they did?
Mm. See, I say no because fool me once. Not
Yeah.
gonna fool me again. So I feel like I don't know. I don't know.
I
I'm not
don't
gonna forget.
I don't think that you have to forget either. I don't even I don't agree with the statement "forgive and forget."
Yeah.
I'm not just supposed to, "Oh, I've forgiven you, so I'm gonna forget what you
Mhm.
did."
Yeah.
No, but I also think that's another thing. Some people think that once you've forgiven someone, you guys have to go back to however
Mhm.
the relationship was before whatever happened, and
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's the case either. You can
Yeah.
forgive someone and you both move on with your lives without continuing the way that you were before.
Agreed.
And that's just boundaries and
Mhm.
being able to protect yourself in whatever way that you feel like you need to. So,
Yeah, I agree. I was actually thinking about that. Cause okay, so, and this is just a thought because honestly, I agree with what you just said.
mhm,
But I know we're supposed to use wisdom, but like when I look in the Bible and I read stories or different things about like people being forgiven, like if you just think about the story, what was his name? Gomar and Hosea when he married the prostitute and God
mhm.
kept telling him to like go back and get her, go back and get her every time she cheated. And nowhere in that, which I know that's a marriage, so that's like a different relationship, but like nowhere in that did God tell him to like treat her differently or to set boundaries with her or to like, you know,
Mhm,
keep her at a distance. It was just like, no, you go get her and you continue to love her, which I know that that was like a symbolism of God's love for us. But then even when you think about like other stories in the Bible, like I don't know, Adam and Eve, when they sinned and was kicked out of the garden, like Jesus didn't just send them out there into nothing. Like he gave them clothes to put on
mhm,
so that they wouldn't go out there naked. And then when
mhm,
you think about other stories where Jesus was still kind to people who were like questioning him and against him. And I don't know, I
mhm,
just feel like for based off of what I've read in the Bible, it seems like we're supposed to love that way.
mhm.
So it makes me think like even when people do things like that, are we just supposed to like continuously let them in and let them like I don't know. I don't even know. It's just a
I don't
thought
know.
that I had.
But that kinda makes me think of honestly, I feel like it depends on the relationship, right?
Mhm.
Because I think of family, because sometimes family
Mhm.
can be the worst when it comes to having to forgive. It's almost as if sometimes family feel
Mhm.
like they can do and say whatever they want to you because you're family.
Yeah.
But it does make me think of family. Some people that they will just cut their family off.
Mhm.
But then there's also other people, I just think of, for example, my brothers or whatever. I can't really think of anything, like, too dramatic where I was just like, "No," like,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
it, never talking to them again, but I
Mhm.
can think of moments where I'm like, "Whoa," like, that kinda hurt, and
Mhm.
that hurt my feelings,
Yeah.
and I was able to forgive them and still, like we still have, like, great relationship, moved on, and so but
Mhm.
comparing that to someone else, as someone else could have, like, hurt me, and I just felt like, that wasn't really a
Mhm.
relationship that I felt like needed to continue, so I just kind of feel like it just depends on the person.
Yeah. I could see that.
Because
I don't
people
know.
come in our lives in and out all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, I agree with what you said, but it just made me think about it.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you had to forgive someone for something that wasn't done to you, but, like, someone did something to someone that was close to you,
Yeah.
and now you have, like, a negative emotion or whatever towards this person because of what they did to someone else?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally. Literally, I don't know if you know, because 'cause I've never talked to you about it, but it was someone that did something to you that offended me, and I felt like I don't know, I just didn't mess with them like that no more, because I just
I
felt
don't think
like
we ever talked about it, but I feel like I
mm,
know what you're talking about.
yeah, we never talked about it. I never brought it up, but I just felt like I can't like this person's pictures. I can't I like nothing. And I didn't unfollow them because I didn't want to make it like
Obvious.
obvious. Yeah, but yeah, I had to mute them and everything. Like, cuz I was like, how dare you? So I
Yeah.
just felt like, yeah. And I actually thought about this. I think it was recently. When was it? Probably a year ago. Probably a year ago. I thought about it because I had seen they posted something, and I wanted to like it because I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I was like, "Mm-mm." And then I thought about it, and I was
Mm-mm.
like, "Well, I don't think Jessica's holding a grudge, so I should
No, but
I
literally,
shouldn't."
there's that's so funny because there's literally been people that I've, like, in my heart, I'm like, "Yeah, I forgive them." Yet when I see them post stuff, like, I literally will feel some type of way, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?"
Yeah. That'll tell it.
And because I'm surely like, okay, like, if I were to see them today, I'd be fine, right? But and then
Mhm.
I see a post and I'm like, not liking that.
Yeah. That's literally how I was.
But I
And I
don't
said,
feel
"You
like
know
I'm
what?"
holding a grudge. Like, I don't feel like I am, but does that mean that I
Yeah.
am?
I don't know, I had to think about it because I was like, "Why can't I like a picture?" Like, because I just feel like, I don't know, like, you don't deserve it
Sometimes
and, like
I've even forced myself to like a picture before, like, I'm gonna like this because there's
mhm,
a part of me that doesn't want to, so I have
mhm,
to fight this and like it.
mhm. Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel
That's
that.
so funny, yeah. But I think I know what you're talking about, I don't know.
Yeah, I could just
Offline.
edit it out.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the couple.
Yes, that's what I was
Yeah.
talking about. I'm like,
Yeah, like,
all these years, and I'm like, I literally thought I was done, like,
mhm,
over, and I do feel over it,
mhm.
but it's
Yeah,
just something that won't let me like that picture.
yeah, I understand it. Just say pray about it.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, I don't really know how you're supposed to, like, just forgive people, especially when, like, what they did is, like, 'cause what for me, what really bothers me when I people that, like, I've had to forgiven, my thought is always like, "I would never do that, so why would you do that
Mhm.
to me?" You know?
Yeah,
So, yeah, it can be hard to forgive. So I don't think I can say it's just
totally.
pray, 'cause
Yeah. I think prayer is number 1, giving it to the Lord, asking Him for strength and to help you
mhm.
to do it. And then also another thing is don't be, like, discouraged if you, like, say you forgive someone today and then tomorrow and
Mhm.
you wake up and you still feel the same way. I think
Mhm.
sometimes it's just a process, and even,
Mhm.
like, if we say that we forgive them instantly, like, I say it today and I don't necessarily mean it, I feel like that's still a step in the right direction, and,
Yeah.
um, like, what there's, like, a Bible verse that says, like, "Forgive 70 times 7" or so, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
sometimes I think some people can look at that as, like, a person that keeps doing a new thing, and you have to forgive them for this thing, and then they do something else, and you have to forgive them for another thing, but I think that sometimes that can literally be, "Today, I'm choosing to forgive this person for that one thing that I still feel like I'm not over," and, um, I think with time of praying about it, releasing it, and also praying for that person, which is not easy to do, but I think that when you pray for people, it kinda softens your heart, and so, yeah, praying for the person, praying to God to give you strength
Mhm.
for it, and then just, like, committing to, forgive daily. That would be my advice. Thank you all so much for watching today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Bye. Where are you going, sweetie? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as head on over to our lovely TikTok at CuteConvos and don't forget to follow. See you next time.